Operation Absolute Resolve. How it how did we get here? How did Maduro get captured? Was it a mistake or is it a bad action of the United States? This campaign of arresting Maduro began when Donald Trump was doing his campaign. If you remember, and I'm going to show you the video, he was talking about the drugs that are pouring in from the southern border and even the northern border. He was blaming Canada too. But Canada explained itself and said they don't send drugs to the United States. He was saying that the drugs pass through Mexico and Venezuela.
Does this come amidst the rising tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela?
We're talking about with Venezuela?
Yes.
Well, you had a different kind of a president before me. They didn't mind being ripped off. They didn't mind being robbed. They didn't mind drugs pouring into our country. They didn't mind the jails of Venezuela and Trinidad being emptied into the U.S., where they take over Colorado and other places. I do mind. So you had a different kind of a president. I hope people are enjoying it because we've never been respected more than we are now. Yeah, please.
So when he became president, he decided to have talks with Maduro. Maduro accepted the talks, but he didn't accept the conditions that he was told to follow. He was given a safe passage of leaving Venezuela and going to Turkey. Listen to this video.
President Biden put a $25 billion bounty on the guy's head. Why? Because he was a horrible criminal, murderer, poisoning our people. Every administration has been saying he's a threat to our country. He's a bad guy. This is the first guy that's actually done something about it. Here's the story for me. He could be in Turkey today, but he's in New York. So if you tell people in Cuba you need to stop being a communist dictatorship threatening America, you should go somewhere else. You better take the offer. Maduro has nobody to blame but himself. He gave him a way out. He chose to defy Trump and the U.S. military, and his ass is in jail where he deserves to be, and every president has said the same thing, but he did it.
One of the things that is happening, I think you see it all the time, Howard, you've seen it, that Cuba is ready to fall. You know?
Yes.
Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know how if they're going to hold on.
So the USA began military build-up in the Caribbean. The USA forces, primarily Delta forces, spent months rehearsing the raid on the full-scale Republic of Maduro's presidential compound, the Miraflores Palace. And then there was deep intelligence infiltration. Intelligence agencies tracked Maduro's daily routines, eating habits, and even the details of his past to ensure that they knew exactly where he would be. Then they began the military build-up that you saw in the Caribbean. Starting in August 2025, the USA began a significant military build-up in the southern Caribbean, framing it as an effort to intercept drug trafficking vessels. You have seen yourself these boats being blown up and everything, and so many people died. Almost 100 people died in those small boats being struck. And you heard this video of this Democrat senators who were calling on the military to refuse illegal orders, and Donald Trump said this about them.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army,
Our Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you. We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up. Slotkin told the New York.
Let's go to the White House right now, where President Donald Trump has more harsh words for House Democrats. So get this. The president is angered by a Washington newspaper's report saying that some Democratic lawmakers released a video urging members of the military to ignore unlawful orders. In fact, look at this. Trump said on Truth Social this morning, "This is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors." lock them up. And then, a short time later, the president finished with this thought: seditious behavior, punishable by death. Heavy words there. Let's talk about them.
Now, as Maduro refused to accept the offer of going to Turkey, then here's what happened. On January 2 and 3, 2026, the mission involved 150 aircraft, including F-22s, F-35s, B-1 bombers, and drone launched from 2 different bases across the Western Hemisphere. So Donald Trump gave his go-ahead at 10:46 p.m. President Donald Trump gave the final order to launch the mission. The infiltration at 1 a.m. Special operations helicopters 106 soared and entered Caracas under cover of darkness. You know, helicopters gets in the country, but nobody knows that these helicopters are in the country. They even had blackout in Caracas. They were a cyber effects or expertise were used to cut the power grid in Caracas, plunging the city into darkness. You see, at 1 a.m. and 1 minute, the raid began. The apprehension forces landed at Maduro's compound. The raid itself lasted less than 30 minutes. This is a president. This is not a normal citizen like me who is speaking to you. This is the president who has security and everything. So you see, the capture at 1 a.m. and 1 a.m. 20, Maduro reportedly attempted to reach a steel reinforced safe room, but was bomb rushed by Delta Force before the door could close.
And what was Maduro doing when our guys came in on him?
So we were going to do this 4 days ago, but the weather was not perfect. The weather has to be perfect, and we had just the perfect weather. We had, very good. A little bit few more clouds than we thought, but it was good. We waited 4 days. We were going to do 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago, and then all of a sudden it opened up, and we said go. And I'll tell you, it was just amazing. And what was he doing? He was in a very highly guarded, like a fortress, actually. He was in a fortress. That we had nobody killed was amazing. I think we had nobody killed, I have to say, because a couple of guys were hit, but they came back and they're supposed to be in pretty good shape. But that we had nobody killed, that we lost no aircraft, everything came back. We got it all back. One of them was hit pretty hard, but a helicopter, but we got it back. But it just was the right time to do it. We had to do it because it's a war. We're losing.
You see, extraction at 3 a.m. 29, U.S. forces were back over international waters with the captives. You see, at 3 a.m. they began their operation at 1 a.m. At 3 a.m. now they are in the waters, bringing them their captives. Maduro and Flores were first taken to the USS Iwo Jima, amphibious warship waiting offshore. Photographs were later released showing Maduro blindfolded in the U.S. custody. By the morning of January 3rd, they were flown to the New York to be arraigned in the Southern District of New York on charges of narco-terrorism and cocaine importation. Not on casualties, while the USA reported no American deaths, or Venezuelan and Cuban officials claimed over 80 people were killed during the airstrike and ground raid, including 32 Cuban military and intelligence members. You see, legal and political justification. The Trump administration justified the operation as law enforcement action with military support, asserting the president's inherent constitutional authority to capture a fugitive indicted by USA courts. However, the mission has sparked international debate regarding its legality under the UN Charter, and the president it sets for the sovereignty of nations. So that is what happened in Caracas, and that is why Maduro was captured. The reason of his capture is because he refused to leave, and here's the video that Marco Rubio explains why they did this.
Short term, we'd love to see all kinds of changes, but the most immediate changes are the ones that are in the national interest of the United States. That's why we're involved here, because of how it applies and has a direct impact on the United States. Okay, we are not going to be able to allow in our hemisphere a country that becomes a crossroads for the activities of all of our adversaries around the world. We just can't allow it. We can't have a country where the people in charge of its military and in charge of its police department are openly cooperating with drug trafficking organizations. We're not going to allow that. These things are direct threats to the United States, and we intend to use every element of leverage that we have to ensure that that changes. The one I would point everyone to is that our military is helping the Coast Guard conduct a law enforcement function, which is not just the capture of Maduro, but the enforcement of our sanctions. We go to court, we get a warrant, we seize the boats. And we think this is tremendous leverage, incredible, crippling leverage.
They did this because these men didn't want to follow their orders. They didn't want to see other negative or adversaries have influence in the Western Hemisphere. That is the reason they said, no, we don't allow these men to keep on ruling Venezuela.